Hello, I'm Conant, and this afternoon I'm going to introduce you to two cameras, a film and a digital, to give you a taste of the expansiveness of photography's technological spectrum. The first end of this spectrum is represented by the Kodak Easyshare Z1015IS, a wonderful little digital camera with myriad options for accurately tailoring one's photographs. Let's take a look. Obviously, the first thing one should know about a camera is where or how to turn it on. For the Easyshare, it is conveniently located along the top right portion of the camera for easy quick access. Here, one simply turns on the camera by pulling this little square lever from the left to the right. The next important aspect of a camera is its control panel, where all of the tailoring options are located. This appears very near the on-off switch along the top right of the camera. Here. Like many cameras, the Easyshare places the shutter speeds and capture modes in this simple dial, which requires all but a twist to quickly change between shooting modes. This dial is also the location of the ISO settings, depicted on the top by the acronym ISO. Here. An ISO mode is used for situations with very low light, considered analogous to a light mode. Other such features on this dial are the sport mode, for capturing motion pictures, depicted by the person running, panoramic mode, here, the square with the two triangles, for quickly taking multiple photographs and stitching them together automatically, and also video mode, to shoot videos. Probably one of the most important devices, or set of devices, within the dial are the creative capture modes, denoted by the letters P, A, S, and M, here, arcing along the top of the dial. These allow a more advanced and complex control of one's photographs. But the two most often used are the A and the S, which stand for aperture priority and shutter priority. So with this, consider the A where you would control f-stops, or how large or small the aperture is within the lens. S, standing for shutter priority, determines how long the shutter, or how much light the shutters will allow to permeate the lens. The lens itself is another simplified function on this camera, for it deals with auto zoom, function that anyone, novice to pro, can functionally operate. First, to access it, simply pop off this ingenious little cap for it. And then the auto zoom is dealt with here, like most cameras, along the back. The left for zooming out and the right for zooming in. Another wonderful aspect of this zooming quality is located here in the middle of the top near the dial. Notice here there's a little flower-like symbol. This is called the macro setting, which allows you to take crisp, detailed photos up close, and then the two triangles beneath it toggles you to landscape, which is for taking photographs with a distant focus. It works off of the principle of infinity focus. In closing, I'll express probably why I love this camera the most, and that's because of its ergonomic design. Notice how, when in your hand, it's almost as though it melts into your hand. It's very comfortable to hold, and photographing is very easy, for all it requires is the movement of one's thumb. Representing the opposite end of the aforementioned spectrum is the Canon EOS Rebel Ti, a small film camera with a surprising amount of advanced capabilities. For the purposes of this video, we'll focus on how to load the film and some of the basic lens operations. Firstly, before one can use the camera, film obviously needs to be loaded. This is done by popping open the film hatch here by pulling down on the black lever and opening the hatch. Now, though I've already loaded film, to do so, all one has to do is pop in this yellow canister and line up the two triangles down here in the bottom right corner. Then, close the hatch, turn the camera on, and it will automatically pull the film into your first reel. The wonderful thing about manual zoom and focus is the amount of control one has over it. Now, unlike the Kodak here, which simply pressed a button and it automatically focused and zoomed for you, the Canon Rebel Ti has manual focus and also manual zoom. The manual zoom is controlled by this large black band here, by rotating it to the left and to the right. For the focus, all one has to do is the same thing with the smaller appendage, which comes out the front. This allows a very advanced and wide range of control over one's photographs, which is always a good thing. The camera tripod is probably one of the greatest photographical sidekicks, and that is because it allows you to take very still photographs, thus reducing motion blur. The first step with using a tripod is to connect the camera, and this is done by simply matching the threaded bolt here on the top of the tripod with the threaded orifice in the bottom of the camera located here. This gives you a very stable, sturdy base from which to take photographs. Another great aspect of the tripod is its ability to magnify its height. This is done by opening these clasps here and then pulling down on the legs to extend and create height. Another way in which one can magnify the height of the camera is to use this crank wheel here, located along the top. This will actually move the camera independently from the tripod, allowing an easier range of motion and more control over the device. My favorite aspect of this Kodak tripod is right here, the level. The level is a great instrument to use while taking photographs in which you want the horizon line to be perfectly horizontal or perfectly perpendicular.